Welcome, everyone. I'm Carmela, and this is Under the Spotlight. So excited for you today to meet my very special friend. Some of you may know her because she's been on television for many, many years, but specifically as a collector of Tiffany lamps. Or maybe it's the cozy wrap, or quite possibly something else like even sheets and beautiful wares for your home. And maybe you just follow her, not because of what she's presenting, including the jumbo shoes, which we'll talk about, but this woman inspires me. And I thought, you must feel the same way. And I've realized, wow, looking on her Facebook page, customers love her. But I've known that over the years. What is it about this woman that makes everybody love her? She's delightful. She collects friends. She hangs on to us. She makes sure that we stay in her life. And I love that about her. How does someone like that really keep in touch with all of her friends from over the years, multiple networks, hundreds of people, thousands of people over the years, and yet we all feel very special in her life. So I'm about to introduce you to this very special lady, and you'll find out her superpower. But first, let me give a cheers to the show, and thanks to our sponsor, Perks. I actually have combined a couple of the flavors. They have a new flavor out, and what's so cool about it, it's limited edition. So reach out. We'll connect you with our sponsor, Perks from Happy Co. Next Level, an all-natural energy drink, and it tastes fantastic. So I'll be drinking that throughout the show. It keeps the clarity going, which I don't know if clarity is a good word to use for the show because Laura and I could talk all day. So we're just going to fly organically here, but I do have some topics and maybe a little quick Q&A because a lot of people have questions about Laura Duffek. Welcome in, Laura. Welcome under the spotlight. Hi, beautiful.
It is so good to be with you. I've been really excited about sharing this time with you. I've known you for what feels like 1,000 years in such a good way, but it is wonderful to always spend time with you.
You're reminiscing with my producer, aka husband, about PJ and how old he is now. And you remember him as just a little toddler at the studio. I remember that moment, how you were just applauding him and cheering him on and inspiring him. You are that woman, though. You inspire all of us. And there's much we want to talk about today. But first, have to ask, how's Mama doing? Mama doing good?
Yeah, this is such a near and, this is shows how wonderful you are to ask about my mom. So many people do because they know my mom was such an integral part of my life. And I appreciate every time somebody mentions her. My mom has, for the last 2 months, been in a memory care facility. It got very, very difficult for me to be a 24-hour caregiver for her. And coming to the realization that I had to release her care to somebody else was very, very difficult, very heartbreaking and difficult, all in many different ways. But 2.5 months later, I realized she's where she needs to be. She's making friends. She's cared for. I see her 3 and 4 times a week because we are that close. And she's going to be 96 in August.
I remember her commenting about someone being old, and this was like a year ago, like not like her. She doesn't consider herself old.
No.
I love that. You have kept her going. You've kept a lot of us going. And I don't know if you realize, like through social media, which is the best way to connect with Laura is through Instagram and Facebook, and she's on all the platforms. But you inspire, you keep going. And this is where I want to take our audience today is we met many years ago in television shopping. You came in. I know you have a different story, but you seem seasoned, ready to go. I know you came from news and maybe that was it, but you did something with products that was so special. Like you really dug in, and it really showed up when you walked us through the Tiffany style lamps, which are beautiful. You had a way of making us feel connected to the history and the art and the beauty, and we all want it. And then I realized Laura Duffek has that with everything she touches. It's magic. Really, it seems very magical. What's the secret? What's the hidden gem behind all of that? Is it the way you study your product or just sort of how you feel your way through a presentation?
I bet you're going to be surprised by my answer because I always felt such a privilege to be in this industry. I started many, many moons ago at QVC as a host. I was first hired there. Then I was hired at Value Vision, which is where we met. So my history goes way, way, way back. And so I always loved the industry, but I always respected the customer's time. That if they were going to sit and watch and if they were going to spend money with the network, with me per se, I owed it to them not to just blow it off, just to be like, here it is, and I expect you to call in and spend money. I needed to work for that dollar. I needed to work for their time. I needed to work for their, the credibility that we shared. I needed to work for that because I felt that was a level of respect. And you know this because we were taught this years ago, that was, you needed to do your work, you needed to prep, you needed to know your product, because that was a level of respect back to the customer. And so that's why I spent time learning products and being involved and trying to make it a party like we did with our Tiffany lighting. I call it my Tiffany posse, so that everyone felt involved and invested. That when you spend, it was nothing to spend, as you know, $175 on a lamp, drop of a hat. Some
Right.
lamps went for 500, some lamps went for 1,000. Why wouldn't you want that to be exciting and part of a party and a thrill, and you remember when you got that piece? That's the way it should be. That made home
Right.
shopping what it is.
Okay, so take that as you're listening on the podcast or watching on the live. Not only as a customer do we feel special and valued, as a friend and a colleague, and just to know her, but if you're in another business, take that forward with you. It is about the customer. What do you have that you're trying to either solve a problem with, or what do you have that you're pitching, so to speak, you're selling, you're sharing? If you make it about the other person, that is the magic right there. Laura has a superpower. She doesn't know that I'm calling it a superpower, but I know that it is. As a woman in business and just as a human, your superpower is you know how to pivot within the same industry. So you were on the air at QVC, then Value Vision, and now you're traveling. And I know you've traveled to Australia, you're in Canada, you're in Florida as well. Are you still at HSN? That's awesome. So you're in all these networks, but it isn't just on the air representing product, which I think was also another pivot, moving from host to a different position. How do you make those transitions? How did you see that opportunity? And that's the superpower that you have, is you see the opportunity within the industry.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And you took the steps to get there. Can you walk us through that a little bit, Laura, please?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are going to find themselves in a similar position. The first time I really had to think about, do I want to stay in the industry, and then how am I going to change and morph into something else, was when I got laid off. And a lot of people have gone through layoffs, and you sit there and go, what do you want to do? Do you still want to stay in the industry you're in, or do you want to make a change? And so I always say it's through the grace of God, because I got pushed to do something different. And I felt like I just couldn't give up. I just had to keep going and keep going. And there was a very instrumental man, because I chose, as many of us did, we chose to leave Shop NBC at a time to start a brand new network, which was WSS. Then WSS closed. So I say we were laid off, but it closed, the network closed. So I had to go find something else to do. And I went, and I was hired by Jewelry Television, JTV, down in Knoxville. And I met an incredible man who was instrumental in hiring me, Bill Lane. Bill Lane had been a consultant at QVC and all over. And we got together, and he hired me. And, he was so great at pushing me and making me believe in myself. But then the 2008, when the market crashed, I had only been at the network like 5 months. So guess what? I was like, well, I guess it's me again, because I had no seniority. I got laid off. Bill's words to me, which I want to share with everyone, and I've shared this over the years many, many times. He said, don't you ever tell yourself no. Let them tell you no. Meaning, as high pie in the sky ideas you have, as much as you think, oh, they'll never hire me, or I'm so out of my league, or the millions of negative thoughts that we have in our head,
Right.
stop. Go do what you want, pick up the phone and call, send the resume until they tell you no. Because that is exactly what happened to me when I went and approached the Home Shopping Network in Canada. I thought, I've got this idea in my head, and there's still some loose threads, and I'm not sure. And I picked up the phone, and I got the right person on the line, and I just didn't stop. And when I hung up the phone, I just laid it all out there. I kept thinking of Bill telling me, just go for it until they tell you no. And that is a rule of thumb for a lifetime.
How powerful is that, ladies and gentlemen, to have someone say something inspiring to you that not only helped you make the leap and kept you going, but you remembered that moment in time. See, that's what this is all about. As we talk about Under the Spotlight, people who are inspiring, empowering, and positive. And Laura is really all of that. That's incredible, really, because now you are doing other things, and what they may not know about you is some of the other things you're doing. Do you mind sharing? Because I think this is just
No.
dynamic. The fact that she stayed on the bus, as our mutual friend Bob would say, stay on the bus. You got to stay on. You stayed in the industry, host, guest, and now you're doing some other things as well, and
Yeah, I
brand
mean,
ambassador.
most of the time when I was on, my former network and hosting, a lot of people didn't know all the stuff I had going on behind the scenes. I just wasn't doing that job. A lot of hosts will do just that job. But I always felt like once you get laid off or you're without a job, it's always in your head, you got to have a million things going on. And so I was guesting on, Evine Shop HQ. I was traveling to Australia to work at the network there. I was traveling to London to work at the network there. I was still, if you didn't see me on the air, chances are I was somewhere else working because I just had that drive that and fear that I couldn't be without a job. I had to keep working. And, when I went back, I was a guest for so many networks. And then Shop HQ asked me to come back and be a host. And that was in 2019, 2020. I still was a guest in Canada. I was the only on-air presenter, only one like it that was working at 2 networks at the time, because in our industry, that doesn't happen. But I refused to give anything up. And I said to Shop HQ, I'll only come back and be a host if I can't give up anything. And so then when I got let go from Shop HQ, I still was doing other businesses behind the scene that a lot of people don't know. I'm a consultant in Canada. I'm an on-air guest. I work with them on a million different things. I'm now at Jambu on HSN. I have my own consulting and training business. So
Wow.
that idea that I sometimes sit back and go, now what?
I actually have that on my. It's like now. Wait, hold on. This is amazing. How many times have you said, "Well, I'm loyal to what I'm doing, and I can't do anything else." And you need to keep your mind open. This is what Laura's saying, right? You need to at least look, and if you're compelled, then you take her advice that she's used over these years. Go ahead, Laura.
Here's another thing for people to remember is if you have something that you love, a side gig or side hustle that they say now, but another job comes along, there is no reason why you have to give stuff up. If that other company wants you bad enough, they'll understand why you want to keep other things going on, because our world has changed and we have to have our hands in a couple of different things because that's just the way it is.
Right,
and so
right.
if you stand strong and say, I need to be able to still have this and I can do that, that company will still support you 100% if they're a good company.
Mhm. You have you're just kind and lovable and loving. I actually told Laura this, that even when we were in our meetings, this is throughout the years, if she were to say something in one of these meetings, she had credibility. She didn't just speak to be relevant, or she didn't chime in just to hear her own voice. She always had okay, this is where we are and this is where we want to be. How about this? And then with some backing. You just have I love the way that you think and how you position yourself. Do you have any tips for us as for the women watching, for the men watching, just in business alone, like how to bring it all together? You had a mentor that inspired you for sure. You look at the opportunity, you're careful, but you seem to just say, this is what I need, and you're outspoken about it. You're in truth
to a fault. To a fault. You know what? Because I'm one of those people that probably a lot of other people may say I'm demanding. I require a level of excellence. And that either people will jump on board with you and be like, yes, let's do it. Let's, run the extra mile. Let's do it. Or there will be people who don't want to do anything. And then we'll see that as a problem or a bother. It can go either way. I know that I want to perform the best that I can, the very best that I can. And a lot of people need to stick to that, especially women, because we will be viewed as demanding or a problem or 16 other things different in the workplace than anyone else. And we in our heart have to remember that our goal is to achieve, to give the best to the company, to do it respectfully. I would never want to hurt someone's feelings or anything like that, but we still want to achieve and have that level of excellence, and don't give that up. Don't give that up.
and you bring your customers along, which I know many of them are watching right now, and then they'll watch the replay and the podcast as well. You really bring them along with you. They've been following you. So it doesn't matter what you're presenting, whether it's, the Jumbo how do you say the shoe name?
Jambu.
Jambu in Florida, or you're in Australia or up in Canada. Canada is blessed to have you for sure. Hey, are you traveling at all recently with what's going on up there? Are you
I
staying
travel a lot.
Yeah.
I leave pretty soon on a trip that'll take me 6 days and 2 networks, and then a little trip with a friend in between, a little visit with a friend in between, which you know very well. And then in July, I'm on a plane 3 different times that month. So I travel. That's part of this, is I do travel a little bit. I'm still doing a hybrid. So I have a studio in my home, which is what you're seeing. So I still do a
Beautiful.
lot of Skyping from home, but then on the other time, I'm on a plane. So if you see me in an airport somewhere, I may not look quite like this because I don't do the makeup and the hair quite when I'm traveling, but do
That's
come up and say
awesome.
hi.
We all have had our signature throughout the year, not only in TV shopping, but those of you watching probably too. You have a signature. When I think of Laura, I think of those gorgeous long lashes, and when your your eyelashes. Here's another business tip. I asked her one time in the dressing room, like, "Oh my gosh, I want those lashes so desperately instead of wearing mascara." And she goes, "Oh, come here, it's easy." I still can't do it, but you went boop. This was it, and you had them on, and you were all done. They're
30 years.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
Is
thank
it
you.
is it a certain brand? Do you mind?
No,
It's
no.
not. It's
It's
just
just for
whatever.
30 years. When I was at QVC, when I first got hired, they sent you into New York to work with a makeup artist. And the makeup artist actually worked on Brooke Shields and a lot of other famous people when they were in New York. So it was a really, really great makeup artist. And not only did they like do your makeup, but they taught you along the way and then sent you home with a bag of the makeup that they used so that when you went on air at QVC, you could, do yourself up. That was years ago. That was 30 years ago. So I don't know what they do now. But at the time, he said, you do not go on air in any form without lashes on. And so that, once again, here's another person who influenced me and said, just do it. Just find a way, learn a way. And that's
Okay,
it.
Laura's doing the best promotion for Spotlight because every one of our shows have different guests. I'm very blessed to have these friends in my life, and they're all. I say a prayer, and then a name comes to my mind, and she came to mind. But what this is all about is inspiring you. There's a tip. You're on camera if you're on Facebook and you're doing lives and presenting something. Maybe you're FaceTiming with the family. Maybe you just want to look your best for whatever. I love that tip. Hey, we want to know, we have some questions coming in. Do you have a favorite category to present on air? Just
No.
a personal favorite. You
No.
don't? You
No,
just love
a
it
lot
all?
of people think it's Tiffany because I've had such great success with that.
Yes.
I love our industry. I love a great product that you can talk about, that you can incite people to come in and want to share their love for it. Tiffany to me was easy. They're beautiful. It's
Yeah.
your home, it's your haven. Each one is, speaks to your personality, whichever one you choose. I mean, I could go on and on. We should do a series just on Tiffany. I think a lot of people love that. Margie and I
Yes.
need to do one of those too.
I would definitely do that because there's history there we would want to hear for
Mhm.
sure. And we've had several of them over the years, some at our home now. I would definitely take you up on that. Would Margie do that with you? Would that be fun?
Yeah, she
Okay,
would.
that'd be awesome. Folded sheets. What's the question? How to fold? How to fold a fitted sheet. Help me, Lord. Do I actually have to go get one now? So you really know how to fold a fitted sheet,
I
like for
do.
real,
And it's
to where
really,
it's not like most of us do this and then go.
yeah, that's it. And stuff it in the linen closet. Once
Heck
you
yeah.
know how to do it, once you know, you won't do it any other way then. Because you're
Okay.
like, I have to do it this way because it takes up so much less room. And then when you go to make the bed, the sheet is just, it's like it was pressed because it was folded in the right way. There is, if you go to tsc.ca, which is the Canadian Home Shopping Network, first of all, it's fun to look at because they're a great network. But on there, if you go to bedding and if you go to Home Suite, that brand, you're going to see videos of mine on how to do a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. What is it again, Laura, please?
tsc.ca. That's the website.
The shopping channel.ca. Awesome. And to stay in touch with Laura, we can connect you if you go to carmelasterling.com for the VIP list. Sign up there. We'll connect you, but easier. She's on social media, on all social media platforms for sure. Business tips, self-care. Yeah, it's the Canadian TSE, the shopping channel,
Yep.
TSE.ca. Yeah, I want to get the right one up there. Favorite category to shop for, personally, what's your favorite? These are questions that came in that I'm asking you on behalf of your
Yeah. Oh,
beloved
I
viewers.
have a ridiculous obsession with handbags.
Handbags.
Yeah, terrible obsession with handbags. Love to shop for those, but it's hard to find. I'm very picky, and that's probably why I like to shop for them.
That's
And you know
great.
what? Right now, I'm really into like all the new skincare that's out there because my skin is aging, and I still like to hear all the new things that are going on in the industry.
I think that's good to know what the new things are. Yes, for sure. What's the future hold? I mean, you have enough going on. The future is like in the next couple of hours for
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah, it's my world got turned upside down, as I said 2 months ago when I had to have my mom go into memory care. So it is. I'm trying to relearn my life. My personal life is huge for me right now. I'm trying to relearn not taking care of someone and having to be able to turn the tables and take care of myself.
Don't
So
know
it
that.
is a huge thing for me right now. And
Mm.
I just want to be able to, you know, feel like that I'm not everything is in chaos, that there's actually a plan. I'm not sure what that is.
So everyone's asking how Mama's doing well in memory care. Laura's, you get to see her all the time as much as you want, which is great. So living life now to take care of yourself. Have you figured out any self-care tips? We're all, we love you and we'll give some if you need, but you're giving to us today. We're all taking from you. You look wonderful. I mean, your skin,
Oh,
your hair. I love how just everything about it. What do you do for self-care? What are you doing now that you have a few extra hours
you know
in
what?
your week?
I'm have no problem telling you I am just a few, not too many months away from turning 60. And I've learned a lot about hormones. And, for women in our age bracket, hormones are vicious. And one of the number one things we have to do to be able to balance our hormones is sleep. Something so ridiculously that we think is, but as women, multitasking, we always go, I'll catch up on that later. I can survive on 4 and 5. No, we need sleep. So actually, one of the things that I've been doing is really going to bed early, getting off my iPad, putting work down, and really trying to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which I don't think I've ever done in my life. Some days it's easy, some days it's not so easy.
Oh my gosh, that's great advice. That is hard to do for sure. When you travel, do you have any travel tips that you absolutely have to have a certain bag? You have to have, is it packed already, by the way, with the way you travel? Do you have like a bag ready to go?
No, I don't, but I have a routine that I stick to so I don't forget anything because I am going to be on air when I travel. So I've got to have certain stuff with me. Um, so yeah, I have a routine when I pack. When I travel, the best advice I can give everyone in today's world is you have to be hyper aware. You cannot assume that everyone is going to be nice, that everyone is going to be kind. And as women, when we travel, we have to know what's going on around us. So whether that's your person, whether it's your belongings, whatever, you just have to be alert. You can't have your face in your phone and doing a whole bunch of stuff. When I walk through an airport, I'm not doing anything but walk through the airport. When I'm getting in my rental car, I'm not doing anything else but getting in my rental car. The phone can wait, the messages can wait. You can't be distracted. So it's the best advice for travel.
You're precious. You know that? I mean, really, we've gotten so much advice from you today and guidance. Is there anything sort of floating just in your brain that you want to share with us or tell us about what you've been doing or what you're going to do or just something you want to share with us? We're all sort of all ears today, aren't we, Peter, listening to Laura?
You know what? I feel like I just need to give a shout out to you and so many of the original veterans of our industry, because without you paving the way for so many things, we wouldn't have careers. There are a lot of us that I wouldn't have my house. I wouldn't have the things that I do if it weren't for a lot of people that said, let's make this a go. Let's make this a thing, home shopping and a career. So big thank you, my dear friend.
You are very welcome. That's no surprise coming from you, a woman who has an immense amount of gratitude, right? And thank you for that. Over the years, and I know we're probably at our time limit, and Peter's looking at me like we know you're going to go over. How have you stayed connected with all of our friends? And I say our friends, people from the industry and outside the industry.
Yeah.
How do you do that best? Are you on the phone? Is it just when you see them in the studio? Can you give us some little tips and inspiration there? We're loving this, by the way, Laura.
Yeah, you said to me, before we started, you said, "Yeah, who have you talked to recently?" Skip Conley, I talked to this morning. Karen Conley, I talked to.
That's awesome.
Judy Kroll texted me yesterday. Sean Diddy, who many of you remember
Oh
from
my
a number of
gosh.
networks, I talked to just a couple of months ago. Bobby Ray Carter from HSN, I talked to on Tuesday. I mean, these are all names and we're a small industry, so we do know each other. And I'm not saying that just to throughout, but we do all know each other. And it's nothing. I think it's nothing to pick up the phone and just say hi, or, I need some help. Stella Riches on HSN, I did that a couple of months ago. Hey, I need some help. And she was Johnny on the spot to help. There are a
That's
lot of
awesome.
people out there who we all know that we stay connected just because we feel like we know each other. Like many of you feel like you know us, we feel like we know them. And I
And I
love to
think
get a phone
that's
call like that.
you'd like to do what, Laura?
I like to get a phone call like that out of the blue and somebody say, "Hey, was thinking about you," or want to connect. Yeah, I
Right? Whether
love it.
they have a need or not, it's just to
Mhm.
stay connected. And it doesn't matter how much time has gone by. Right? I know when I
Yeah.
reached out to Laura, it was a yes, and it thrilled me that she said yes to this interview to be here with all of you today. Well, my inspiring friend, I just can't even believe we got time like this, and I wish we could just keep going because we literally could talk all day. Thank you for the many memories of the past and this new one into the future. I'm super excited for you and all you have going on, and
Thank
that
you.
you gave us all this advice today. We're very grateful. We're still getting some questions. Just everyone can watch the podcast and what is it?
Charlotte.
Oh, really? Is she up there
No.
watching?
Somebody wants to know.
Oh, somebody wants to know about Charla. We'll have to reach out to her. I know she's on Facebook. I don't know if you've had a chance to connect with her, but to all of the people who stayed in the industry that you stayed in touch with, for those of us who've moved into something else, I want to thank you for keeping us in your collection of friends.
Thank
She,
you.
she
Thank
collects
you.
friends. I love that.
It's a
Okay,
good thing.
last question. So we'll have to find out and let that viewer know. Okay, last question. Kitty cats, where are they? How are they? We just all want to know everything about you.
Well, the two, I wish they would come down. This is their sleeping time. But for many of I was actually, my family had big dogs, German Shepherds, Collies growing up. And Karen Conley, who was the fun one who said, when I moved to Minneapolis many, many moons ago, she said, "You need to get an animal." I said, "I don't have time for a dog." She said, "You need to get a cat." And I'm like, "We're not cat people." Well, 25, 26, 30 years later, I guess I'm a cat person because I've only had cats now. I have one cat that has a very, very fatal heart disease. He was
Is that?
only given 3 to 6 months to live.
Oh, I
We're
didn't
on
know. Is that
3 years.
Ari?
We're on 3 years. So
Oh my
he is
God.
our miracle child, and he is going strong, and he is being researched by the University of Minnesota because he is beating all the odds, and he is a blessing. And then the other little girl that I have, Nina, who is a long hair exotic. She's just naughty. She's just the girl. She thinks she's the boss of everything. So there you go.
There's the update. Yes, we love. Next time when you come back and we talk Tiffany, maybe they can be on the set. We'll do it during their awake time, not to disturb their sleep, because we all learned today that we
Yeah.
need some good sleep. Laura Duffek, God bless you. And I'm so proud of you and so excited for you and the success you've had and how you've inspired all of us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. This has been a joy, many blessings, and I am grateful to have you as my friend.
Thank you, Laura. Stay with us. We'll have you off camera. I know Peter and I want to just have a minute with you, and just to everyone watching, share this. Let this inspire other people. We've gotten some great tips for women, some wonderful tips in business, some behind the scenes of Laura's life. We know now her superpower that not only has she applied, but now we can apply it as well. It's been a fabulous Under the Spotlight, and more to come. I hope you'll stay tuned and to stay up on what's happening. We have a couple things. CarmelaSterling.com, just a VIP list, which means that we'll let you know first who is next. And the lineup is epic, by the way. Super excited for all of you. And also, we now have a Facebook page for those of you watching on Facebook, Under the Spotlight. Just let me know you want in. Actually, you can just go there and be a part of it and see all of the clips and all of the information from our many guests. This has been very special today. Thanks again, Lauren. Thanks to all of you. We'll see you next time.